If you want to get more done without working more hours, you can be like the smart entrepreneurs. They're using AI to cut down planning and execution time and cut it in half, increasing their mental focus. They're picking the biggest levers to grow their business. Today, I'm going to give you the exact prompts they use, pulled from my book, The Business Unlock, so that you don't even have to buy my book. So probably this video is a bad idea for me, but I'm doing it anyway. Now, one of the first things that we want to do as entrepreneurs is make sure that we're using our time really well. So we're going to first look for time drains by using a time audit. Now, this is a whole process that exists in my book, but I'm going to give you the prompt right here. And just as a reminder, as we go through all of this, all of the prompts that you see here are going to be available for free at ceoworkbench.com. That's my resource site. So you don't need to do screenshots and furiously try to type. All of that will be linked in the description below this video. So first, we're just going to paste in this prompt into ChatGPT, to Claude, whatever AI that you're using. I happen to be using ChatGPT 03, but any model works for this exercise. So as you'll see in this prompt, it says you are an executive productivity analyst. Your task is to examine 1 week of the user's calendar and to-do list and classify each item as dump, defer, or delegate, and then output a delegation brief. So the point of this prompt is to classify everything that you're doing into one of 3 categories. The first category is dump. These are things that you shouldn't even be doing. They're things that are a waste of your time. They're not heading towards your objectives right now. The second thing is to defer. And I will bet you that probably like 80% of the stuff that you're doing, if you're a freelancer, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just trying to be productive, are going to be things that you can defer. They're not really important right now. So for example, you're going to think, oh, wow, it's really important that I be blogging right now to get my message out. But the fact of the matter is your product might not be in the shape that it needs to be. So you really need to stop on that and focus on the thing that really matters. It's one of these ways of prioritizing the things that really matter. And then the last thing is to delegate. So a lot of the things that you're doing, you should probably delegate to someone. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about how to delegate it. There's an entire section in my book about that. You can find a link to my book below. But the short of it is, everyone can afford to delegate because you can delegate to AIs, very cheap. You can delegate to people, which you can get offshore, very affordable and a good value. So there are a lot of ways to delegate, but the point is that you have to categorize things into one of these categories, and that's going to free up at least 10 hours a week, at least in my experience from people running this process. So I'm going to go ahead and run this prompt. Now, I wish I could give you a really good example of me using this, but unfortunately, because I already use this process all the time, I don't really have a lot of things to delegate and dump, so it's not going to be very helpful for you. But you're going to need 2 things for this. Number one, your calendar. And let's say you're using Google Calendar, you're using Apple Calendar. The great thing about these AIs, especially GPT-03 and its friends, are that they're vision models. So one thing that you can do is actually just take a screenshot of your calendar and put it in there. Or you can do an export of some sort. So just make it easy on yourself. Like do a screenshot of what it is. And the second is your to-do list. So since I've delegated so much already and I run this process all the time, I don't really have a big to-do list to share with you as an example. But what you would do here is paste in or export the screenshot or the data file for your calendar and then paste in your to-do list, and it will walk you through the entire process. So it's a simplified version of what's in my book, and you don't even have to do all that pesky reading to get the benefit of getting another 10 hours back in your calendar. One of the things that really impacts productivity is mental focus. It is that energy drain that you get from having so many things on your plate. You're going in so many different directions. So this mental space detox is one of the most important things that you can do. Once you get rid of all of the people and the things that are really stealing your focus, you're able to concentrate for an extended period of time. And actually just, it's wonderful. You get in this flow state and you get so much more done. So once you've done that first prompt that I gave you, which is going to be able to free up a bunch more time from your calendar and get things onto other people's plates or just stop doing things that don't matter, the next is getting yourself in that state of mind where you can be super productive. And that's where this prompt comes in. So let me paste that right in. And here you have the mental space detox prompt, again, from my book. It is a simplified version and that's interactive that you can get for free on ceoworkbench.com. So it says you are an executive coach who converts nagging tasks or people problems into immediate relief steps. So what you're going to do is just paste this in, and all you have to do is Click go, and it's going to prompt you through the whole thing. You don't have to edit the prompt, just cut and paste. Time to clear your head. Please list 3 energy drains. Okay, so I'm going to list 1, and this is not true, by the way. My social media person keeps on misspelling the name of Atomized, my software project, as automized. Okay, that's 1 energy drain. So I need to keep on editing the copy. Now, this is very trivial, obviously, but here's another one. Okay, my sales rep isn't keeping the CRM up to date. And 3, I need to do another promo of my book, Business Unlock, but I don't have a designer to design the graphic assets. Okay, those are my energy drains. I'm saying the things that just, it's a pain for me. So it's going to go through its thought process, and then it's asking for a single sentence ideal outcome for each item. Now you see what it's doing here. Instead of just a one-shot prompt where it's just like you ask it a question and it gives you an answer, it's going to walk you through something interactive to kind of clear the deck. Okay, so what's the single sentence ideal outcome? So I'm going to copy these and paste them here. I have a spelling issue that I don't need to proof my social media posts anymore. CRM updates, it's updated in real time right after each sales call. Book promo design, the promo materials are done without me needing to micromanage and done in 1 week. Okay, so now it says it's got it and it asks for constraints. All right, so what are the constraints? What's stopping me from doing this? None. I have the people. It's just a, detail-oriented issue. CRM updates. Constraints? None. Book promo design. Graphic constraints? None. So can be very straightforward with that one. All right, so now it's output a relief plan. So the whole thing is a plan here. Atomized spelling issue, ideal outcome, first calendarable action. So it's actually telling me what to do by when, and it's Saturday, June 21st, 2025, so it's tomorrow. DM the social manager at exactly this time to say this. So essentially, it's given me a full-on plan for each one to clear the decks, to get these 3 nagging things off my desk. And it tells me when to do it. It tells me exactly how long the meetings have to be, what the agenda is. So all of that is done to make me have more mental space so I don't have to think about this nagging thing. It just gives me the step by step. One of the big premises in my book is that processes need to be built around everything in your business, because it then gives you the option to take a step back as the owner of the business and really just focus on your area of genius while people and systems do everything for you. In other words, it is the way to document the processes so that you're not always constantly tinkering, so that people aren't always running to you. And that's what this next prompt is for. We call it the Clarity Sprint Builder. And what it does is it takes one of these systems or processes that you're running right now, and it helps you turn it into something that is actionable, that you don't have to micromanage anymore. So whenever you're getting a team members coming to you constantly, and that team member could be if you're an entrepreneur and you've got a team member working for you, it could be also if you're working with someone else, whether you're a freelancer, whether you are working in a job for someone else, and you've got a team member coming to you, it's a way to structure and formalize it so that you're not kind of always on the defensive, on your heels, like things are showing up and you're just getting aggravated for it. Instead, there's a process in place and everything gets calm. So let's take a look at that next one. This prompt says, you are an SOP architect. Your mission is to guide the user through a 20-minute sprint to draft a complete procedure. So obviously, you don't want to watch me go through 20 minutes of this, but I will show you how it works, and then you can use this and get by getting your free copy of it at CEO Workbench, or you can pick up my book for those of you who like to read and like cool stories in there as well. So it's going to ask you for the task name, the desired outcome, the typical trigger, like when does this happen? Does this happen on a regular schedule? Does it happen event-based when something else happens? Tools or systems, and then it's going to get those answers from you. And then it's going to get them in order, and it's going to assemble an SOP. And an SOP is in a very specific format. So most SOPs are just kind of like a list of things to do. And that's not really how you want to structure them. Again, for more details, you can refer to my book, and there's some other resources on CEO Workbench. But a properly structured SOP talks about inputs, processes, and outputs. In other words, what needs to go in, what are the things that need to be done, and what comes out. And if you always structure things in this way, you have certainty because you know when something's coming into a process, you've got everything that you need to do it. and then the process gets done. And that can be a very simple checklist, or you can make an AI to do it. And then what goes out so that the next person or system that you're handing the baton to in the relay race is going to know exactly what they have to do. And there's a tremendous sense, I said this, of calm and certainty that you get when everything is packaged in this way. So this prompt is going to walk you through that. And within 20 minutes, you're going to have one SOP really clearly defined. And then you can go on to do more of them. Or you can do, if you're running an organization, what I do is I have other people do that. I have them run this, and they do this on their SOPs. So you don't have to be doing all of it. You delegate this prompt to them, and they will run it for their pieces, and they'll put it all together. And then you'll get an entire system, a company functioning like a well-oiled machine. If these prompts are already helping you move faster, then you're not going to want to stop here. You can get a no-fluff way to grow your business with my book, The Business Unlock. Or if you don't like reading, my resource site called the CEO Workbench is full of free tools that help founders scale with AI. And it's fast, it's clean, you scale precisely. Whether you're building your systems, you're launching offers, you're tightening strategy, this is your growth command center. It's linked right at the top of the description. Next is the 7 levers framework. And I'm going to actually read you the beginning of the section here in my book because I think it's actually really relevant to understanding why this is so important and what this prompt is going to be able to do for you. So it says, what if I told you that you could use a process to improve your business by 10%? That wouldn't be too exciting. Now, would it? You'd say that's doable. Okay, so 10% is doable. But what if I told you we're going to double your business? All of a sudden, now you're thinking, now that feels hard. And you'd be right, because you're probably thinking that you have to do one big thing to double your business. Let's not get too mathy, but the bottom line is if you fix just 7 smaller things in your business and improve them by only 10%, you nearly double the business profits. And I show the math here that it's 10% improvements times 7 is 1.94x. The point is you don't always have to bite off one big thing and risk choking on it. The times when I've bet everything on one strategy haven't worked out great. That might be your experience too. You've high hopes for a new big initiative. You spend a bunch of time and money on it, and it doesn't really move the needle. That's normal. But we de-risk growth when we don't go all in on one thing and instead try several. So this is the 7 levers framework. And this prompt that I'm going to give you now is going to allow you to implement that. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but now you have the context for why this is important. This is going to help you double your business. So what you're going to do is paste this in, and let's see what happens. And it tells me there are 7 levers in your business that if you increase each one just 10%, you nearly double the business. The levers are below. Rank each one for impact, how much changing this lever will improve your business, and ease, how easy it is to address this lever. Rate each one for 1 to 7 from impact and ease. So I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to copy this block, paste it here. I'm going to say leads. Let's say I've got this is the biggest impact. So 7. I'm just going to make it easy. I'm just going to go and say 6, 5, 4. I'm just making this easy so that you don't have to sit through a long narrative here. 2, 1. And now how easy are each of these? I'm just going to randomly pick them as 7 and 6. Okay, now I've ranked all of them and let's see what it tells me. Okay, now it's output for me a table showing the score of what the impact and ease is going to be for each one of these. So based on what I gave it, it has scored what the biggest lever is that I can actually make a huge difference in my business. And it looks like it's on conversions. And it's making a recommendation of a mini project, which is to build and launch a 2-step post-demo email sequence that pushes stalled prospects to decision. Day 1 is to send a concise value recap with a 1-click acceptance link. Day 3, follow up with a limited time incentive and a direct calendar link. Now, actually, this is really good. Now, part of the reason why it's really good is that ChatGPT also has all the context of my other chats, so it actually knows that email is one of the ways in which we are getting people interested in this product. So it knows that. So when you're doing this with AI, and if you're using AI with all the prompts that I've given you for the CEO Workbench, it's going to have a ton of context just inside the app. So it's going to understand what you are doing, and it's going to recommend things that are actually relevant. Now, let's say that you didn't want to do email, but it is about conversions. It's like, I don't want to do email. I am running Twitter X ads. What should I do for this lever? So just ask it a question if you don't like it. So don't just reject it out of hand and say, oh, that's stupid. Well, maybe it didn't have enough context. So ask some more. Okay. It's calculating again. And micro project, Twitter pixel, good, check, done that. 2 website conversion campaigns, cold audience, warm retargeting. So it really is giving a specific recommendation for you. So this is one of those prompts where you can get the full process in my book, but if you just run this process, it's going to tell you what is the thing that can make the biggest impact towards doubling your business and doing it as quickly as possible. Now, the last one is one of my favorites. I really believe that unlocking your calendar is the key to getting as much progress as possible. And the problem is that a lot of people just don't have these long focus blocks where they can just get into the flow and get things done that move the business forward. Instead, you're stuck in your email application, you're bouncing around from email to Slack to your files, you're doing all these things, you're getting these interruptions from other people asking you for stuff. I often say that email is a to-do list that someone else builds for you. I wish I could give attribution. I don't know who I heard that from first. But if you're always in reactive mode, you are never going to be taking the business forward. So what does that mean? You're up late nights doing it. You're neglecting your kids. You are neglecting your friends. You are eating like crap while you're working at night. That doesn't work either. Or you're working weekends. You're missing out on things, or you're feeling that tension like you can never really move forward because there's always something weighing on you. This is the way to get out of that. And this is having focus time. So this is the 1 hour unlock scheduler prompt. And I'm going to show you how to use that. So first, just grab a copy of it from CEO Workbench and use this prompt that says, you are a time blocking assistant. Your job is to reserve 2 5-hour focus blocks this week and generate follow-up reminders. So it's going to ask you for a bunch of things, what your preferred work times are, your immovable commitments, and then it's going to get those from you. So you just have to cut and paste and just hit go, and it's going to walk you through the entire process of getting time on your calendar to make progress. These prompts together are going to change your relationship with your business. It's going to give you more time. It's going to give you time to think. It's going to get the stuff that you don't like off of your plate. So you're delegating it, or you're dumping it, or you're deferring it. And it's going to show you what is that one big lever that I can use to double my business as quickly as possible. And then it's going to give you this block of time to make sure that you can do it. So using all 5 of these prompts together in concert is the way to move forward and be productive. Now that your productivity is dialed in, it's time to turn that momentum into real results. Use these prompts to outperform 99% of marketers. That is the video that's on the screen right now. Click it and I'll show you exactly how.